All right, live on the stream yard, the YouTube alert ought to be coming through in a second.
Yeah, we live.
All right, let's do this. All right, shalom, shalom.
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 We want to start off by giving all praises to Yahweh,
To Yahweh,
Bahashem,
Bahashem,
Yahweh
Yahushua,
Shai, Bahashem,
Bahashem, Kodash.
Rahahak Wadash. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, and elders at Great Millstone. Peace and blessings to the Akin teaching by Thamayam Wa'amat. That's in sincerity and truth. I'm Yatazak. I got Elder Gabar Yahweh. I got Elder Yagadal from the Houston camp, Hawaii. Lord willing, we'll catch a couple more elders on the lesson in a second. But the Lord allowed us another opportunity to get into the book of Acts and continue this series. And we always explain how when you read the book of Acts, we can correlate it to today because nothing is new under the sun. And as we get into this chapter 7, is going into Stephen, who was considered a help. You know what I'm saying? And I found that last week, Yagadal. I was looking for that definition of help.
Oh, you
It was
found
in
it.
it was in the My Sword app in the commentary, where it went into the importance of a help being as an extension of the apostles to push this word out. You see?
Exactly.
So as we get into chapter 7, you know that we come in the stead of Stephen with the apostles, bishops, and elders of Great Millstone, teaching us enough to where we could teach through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai. So while they focus on the daily lessons that they do, we can back them up as far as bringing out the word as helps to the apostles, you know.
In order
And
to
when you
teach.
see, yep, that's right. And when you see the intensity of the way that Israelites responded to Stephen pushing the word, it's similar to how it is today. You know, they lying on the law of Moses. They saying you ain't got to keep the laws. They saying this, they saying that. But what in reality, the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai is on us to teach that, okay, we already fumbled the law. We already fumbled the bag with the law. So now it's all about keeping the law the best you can to show your faith in Yahweh Shem Yahweh Shai moving forward. Because you need that understanding to be delivered, to be meet for repentance, you know? And if you're not meet for repentance, you're going to get destroyed. But if you are meet for repentance, you know what I'm saying? You're going to be delivered. So at the end of the day, as we get into this chapter, which is a pretty long chapter, but we're going to get as far as we can through the spirit, you know? But the contention that is between the people and the prophets, you see that on display fully. But then also within this chapter, you see that what Saul was there and all these different things that you can pull from this chapter. So Lord willing to be edifying to the hopeful elect, everybody else. Hey, it is what it is. But y'all got anything before we get started?
Let's go.
Let's get it.
This is the book of Acts, chapter 7, verse 1. Then said the high priest, are these things so? This is titled Stephen's Defense. And he said, men, brethren and fathers, hearken. The Most High, the power of glory, appeared unto our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, before he dwelt in Haran, right? And it says, and said unto him, get the real quick, I'll just because I just read this. It says our father Abraham when he was in Mesopotamia, and there's a book called From Babylon to Timbuktu, and in the page it said that the Negro began in Mesopotamia, you know, let you know that our forefather was a so-called Negro, right? Abraham, right? And he said unto him, get thee out of the country and from thy kindred, and come into the land which I shall show thee, right? Because Abraham, just like us, he was brought up in a Gentile state of mind, idolatry, right? His forefathers, particularly his father, Terah, was a idolatry. He was a son of the power, but he was an idolatry, and that's what they believed in. The Lord separated Abraham and told him to get out that land, and he gonna show him a land that he's approved of. And it says, then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans and dwelt in Haran, and from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land, wherein ye now dwell, which is Israel. And he gave him none inheritance in it, no, not so much as to set his foot on. Yet he promised that he would give it to him for a possession, and to his seed after him, when as yet he had no child.
Now keep in mind, as we go into this chapter, you see Stephen is a prophet, okay? And he goes into the history and brings it all the way up to the time that he's in now. Okay, this is the state that we come in. Okay, keep that in mind. As the prophets of Yahweh Hashem Yahweh Shai, you're gonna see the resistance, but you're gonna also see how Stephen didn't care because he was in the spirit. Okay.
Real quick, this is just to line up a precept to line up with about the land. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verse 7. Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verse 7. And remember where it says right here, right here, when the Lord spoke to Abraham and told him, he gave him none inheritance in it, and not so much as to set his foot on it. Yet he promised that he would give it to him for possession, and to his seed after him, when as yet he had no child. This is the book of Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, verse 3. For it was thy will to destroy by the hands of our fathers both those old inhabitants of the Holy Land, which were the Canaanites, right? Whom thou hatest for doing most odious works of witchcraft and wicked sacrifices. And also those merciless murderers of children and devourers of man's flesh, and the feast of blood, with their priests out of the midst of their idolatrous crew, and the parents that kill with their own hands souls destitute of help, that the land which thou esteemest above all other might receive a worthy colony of the Most High's children. And Abraham was the beginning of that. You know what I'm saying? And that land, like he said, he had promised it to him as a possession and to his seed, when as yet he had no child. So all of this was established before the world even began. But the Most High showed Abraham what he was about to do for him, right? And this is Stephen going back into our history, letting us know how we got here, who brought us to this land, right? Because at that point, Jake was, doing what they wanted to do, basically.
And you gotta go into the history. You know what I'm saying? You gotta go into the history and bring the people to the present day. You see? So when you bring the people to the present day, you see, okay, so now that you understand the history, now you're being held responsible for it.
Hey, Shalom, Elder Monagon, Yahweh.
Shalom, Zaquan.
Shalom, Yahweh Shemel Shabrakatah.
Shalom, shalom. Yahweh Shemel Shabrakatah, Bashim Kakudash.
You got anything to say, Zaquan, before I keep reading?
Yeah, I got a precept. This is just off of what the elder just said. Jeremiah 6 in chapter 16. It says, Jeremiah chapter 6, verse 16. It says, thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashim Yahushai, standing in the ways and see and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way, and walk therein, and ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. And the reason why I emphasize ask for the old paths, and I really should have emphasized where is the good way, because when you look up the old paths of Yasha Allah, there's good ways and there's bad ways. All right, there's examples of what not to do all throughout the scriptures, and then you have examples of what to do. So when you seek the old paths, seek the good way. How do these men operate? What type of mindset were they in? And that's why.
Check this out, Zaquan. The flip side of what you just said is you got all these Israelites in these 75-pound garments talking about keep the law, keep the law, keep the law. So when you go back to the old way and you keeping the law with your 75-pound garment on, but you being wicked, you see that? See, Jake want to be held accountable for the law, thinking they can be perfect without Yahweh Shai. You see? So you see the flip side of that. Okay, Tazawam just got hurt too. All right, let me in. Shalom, Zaquan.
Shalom. Yahweh Shemel Shabrakatah.
Josh Abrakathon.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, but the flip
read
side,
16 one more time.
the flip side of telling people to keep the laws, well, you know, we already fumbled the bag on that. That's what I'm saying. Your hands bloody. You got it.
I'm gonna read 16 one more time, and then I'll pass it back to the brother. Jeremiah 6 and 16. Thus saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, stand ye in the ways and see and ask for the old paths. Where is the good way, and walk therein? Ye shall find rest for your souls. But they said, we will not walk therein. And that's a cut to people that say the Old Testament is done away with. We find rest for our souls in the Old Testament. You know, we now we're reading the scriptures with the perspective of these are our family members. These aren't just stories. These are actual accounts in my family's history. You got to make these scriptures personal so they really come alive. And that's what happens. That's why the history is always repeated, and you always hear the Lord say, he's very repetitive, I am the Lord that brought thee out of the land of Egypt. Constantly reminding Israel that, look, the greatest deliverance ever, I did that for you.
Yeah.
You know? So that's part of the history. We got to know that part of the history. It's just dealing with Yahweh, dealing with Joseph, dealing with Moses. You know, the deliverance. That's very important. That whole ordeal, which we're in that time now. It was the spring. It was springtime when we got delivered.
Yep. Yep. And well, there's I was going to land back off what you just said. There's a well, here it is right here. This is Baruch 4:1. This is the book of the commandments of the Most High, and the law that endure forever. All that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. Right? Going back to understanding the commandments of the Lord, because the Bible is full of commandments, laws, statutes, commandments, prophecy, and history about the Israelites dealing amongst each other, and as well as dealing with the nations around them. Okay, and like the scripture, like the elder apostles to heart teaches us that you, in order to know the mystery, you got to know the history, right? You can't know the mysteries of the scriptures if you don't know the history of who they pertain to, right? And like Elder Monaghan just said, Zaquan Monaghan just said that when we take these scriptures, we ought to personalize it, right? We treat them as like, because these are our people, these are our family members, these are our forefathers. This is the history that was taken away from us, but now that's been given back to us through the Spirit and power of Yahweh Shah Shah. When he spoke about the good way in Jeremiah 6 and 16, the good way is following the words and being obedient to Yahweh Shah. And there's a history of us doing that in the scriptures, as well as there's a long history of us disobeying that, right? So this is the reason why the Lord told us what? Seek out the good way. It says, seek and ask the old paths, where is the good way, and walk therein. Right? Real quick, that verse in Jeremiah 6 and 16 in the NLT says, this is what Yahweh Bashem Shai says. Stop at the crossroads and look around. Ask for the old godly way and walk in it. Because how many Israelites truly know the godly way and how to walk in it? Well, you can look in the scriptures and you can find that old path about how our forefathers did it and do it the same. Travel its path and you will find rest for your souls. But you replied, no, that's not the road we want. You see? But you constantly looking for rest in somewhere that is not going, you're not going to receive it. I was listening to John Coltrane last night, and then I was looking his biography. And this guy, he was completely restless, man. He was into all religions, but then in the end of his life, he believed in all religions, and that's wickedness. That's confusion.
You said Coltrane?
Yeah,
the jazz artist.
Yeah, the jazz artist. Yeah. This guy, he was brought up in the so-called Baptist church, but then like he got sent to the war, came back home on drugs, and then he was performing, but he constantly had all these different so-called religious epiphanies. So a lot of his music A lot of his albums are named after basically whatever religion he was into at the time. You know what I'm saying?
Bugged out.
Yeah, nigga was into the book. They got a book. They got a Elamite Book of the Dead. Like Egypt has a Book of the Dead. The Elamites have the Bhagavad Gita Book of the Dead. He was into that. He was into Buddhism. He was really into that East Indian religion big time, right? But what he was looking for was rest. The reason why he was on drugs, because he was looking for a rest. Well, when you come back to the truth, you're gonna find the true rest is right here. And not only are you gonna find rest in it for our souls, we're also gonna find hope for our souls. We're also gonna find redemption for our souls. Right? So that's all I had. You had anything else, Quan?
Yeah, the precept.
Con, brother.
This is First Maccabees chapter 2 and verse 61. All right, and before this verse, all right, this was pretty much Mattathias on his deathbed, all right, giving word and motivation to his sons before he passed on to the spirit world, man. Okay, what he did, he will start going into faithful accounts of our history of men who stood with the Lord and were protected, man, and not overcome. All right, so this is First Maccabees 2 and 61. It says, and thus consider ye throughout all ages that none that put their trust in him.
Salaki Zaquan, can you start at 59?
Con. This is First Maccabees 2 and 59. It says, Ananias, Azarias, and Misael by Salaki believing were saved out of the flame. Daniel, for his innocency, was delivered from the mouth of the lions. And thus consider ye throughout all ages that none that put their trust in him shall be overcome. You want to emphasize on those?
Yeah, I wanted you to read it because it showed examples of how our forefathers put faith in Yahweh Shai, and they weren't overcome by their enemies. That was all it's for.
Yeah, but this is a part, just like you go into Hebrews, the 11th chapter, all right, and start listing down those faithful acts of our forefathers. All right, same thing, Mattathias. This is what he wanted to give the history. He knew it was important, like y'all was saying, through the Spirit, all right, for his sons to understand the history to be able to move forward and serve the Lord properly in that time, man. But that's it.
It's going. Anybody else had anything? Any other brothers? It's going. No. Back at Acts chapter 7, verse 3, and I see what brothers meant. The preachers are flowing. 60
almost 20 minutes on verse 3. I was gonna say it, but I knew it was gonna happen.
Hey, that we've been given access to the whole road. You know what I'm saying? So we got to split this thing up into 3. As long as the sheep are fed, it is what it is. You know what I'm saying? The Lord has blessed us with all this information and all this knowledge to explain the scriptures. So that's why I said what I said earlier.
Hey, look, I already knew.
You got it.
Back in Acts 3, and said unto him, get thee out of the country and from thy kindred, and come into the land which I shall show thee. Then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans and dwelt in Haran, and from thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land, wherein ye now dwell.
Real quick, can you look up just look up Haran, because you can see this proves I've used this before in videos about the Hebrew. It shows you that how strong the Lashwan still was through that time, even though that was kind of written. It's written, it's CH. The way that it would be spelled is CHAARAN, and it's in there in the King James version written like that, and that shows you that's the closest way of how our language really sounded. So if you want the pronunciation, you get an idea of it throughout some of these words that Esau, not really Esau, because the Lord put His Spirit on King James to put it together in a way where eventually the elect would get it. And it would make sense. You know what I'm saying? And this is just proof of that. And because you always see Haran, because that was his first stop. You know, he went up and then he came down. And that's what that point where he went to the top, that's what this area is right here. You could read, just read that, bro.
God, the Greek word here is it says Haran.
Strong's G 5488. Haran.
Haran, and that's how we pronounce it in the
Right.
Hebrew, right? And then the origin word is right here, Haran.
Yep.
It says Haran, Slaki, Haran. In the origin, the root word is Harar, right? Or Kawar. But you got this point. You want me to read the definition?
Yeah, go back 2 and then just scroll down.
Khan.
I'm sorry. I'm go back to Haran from Acts 7 and just read what it says.
Khan. So Haran is a mountaineer. Haran equals a mountaineer, a city in Mesopotamia of great antiquity and made famous by the defeat of Crassus.
And that's why it's good to have a working knowledge of the Hebrew, because there's no C there. That just says Haran, you know?
Yep.
And people say, well, Lashwan Kodash is not real. Well, you can use a word like Haran and go to Acts 7 chapter and say, well, this is how they're saying it. This is how we've already been saying the Lashwan Kodash sounds. So this is validating it through the Spirit. That's all I wanted to point out, bro. Just
It says
little
right
Hebrew
here,
plug.
it says Quran of Hebrew origin. Quran equals Quran, a place in Mesopotamia, Quran.
And that's how it was on Yahweh's cross. It had Hebrew, Greek, and Latin. So that however they spoke it in Greek or in Latin, they had those letters in Greek, Hebrew, and Latin, but when it was pronounced, it sounded like Yahweh. If that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? Just like the way they had Kharhan, so that way you could pronounce it correctly. Just like if somebody's name is Timothy, so you could say it right in English, you would be Tee, myth, MEMIF. You know what I'm saying? So that you know how to say it. That's it, bro. I just want to throw that out there.
Verse 4 again. Then came he out of the land of the Chaldeans and dwelt in Haran. For thence, when his father was dead, he removed him into this land where ye now dwell. And he gave him none inheritance, no, not so as to set a foot on. Yet he promised that he would give it to him for a possession and to his seed after him, when as yet he had no child. And the Most High spake on this wise, that this seed should sojourn in a strange land, and that they should bring them into bondage and entreat them evil 400 years. Right? Now, this also is history, because our people, we dwelt in the land of Egypt for 430 years. The first 30 years was pretty cool. We had no problem with people. But after Daniel died, was it Daniel?
Joseph.
After Joseph died, there rose up a Pharaoh that knew not Joseph. So what did he do? He enslaved us, and we had a bit of captivity for 400 years until Yahweh Shema Rashad delivered us. Right. So he's letting them know the history, right? And I know they standing there looking at him like, nigga, we know the history. What you talking about? But it leads to a point. In the nation,
if I can say real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Con. Well, yeah. Going back to verse, where's that about the inheritance that he had gave him? I just want to hit on about faith real quick in Hebrews 11, because remember, none of it happened. So Abraham, he was considered the Most High's friend because he believed in all of these things. He had faith in everything that the Lord was telling him, which was very important, which would lead until having the faith in Yahweh. Okay. So what Stephen is going over this history was very important. Real quick, I just want to get Hebrews 11:8. And I don't know if this was brought out already, but it says, by faith, Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed. Okay. That's why us now we obeying the scriptures by the way of faith. We're taking on the same type of transition that Abraham took place in. All right. We was from idol worshiping, all right, then being called, all right, and then being obedient to the will of Yahweh B'Shem Yahushai. The same, like Elder Yashawamba says that Abraham is basically likened unto the elect. You know, the elect of coming into this thing by faith. You know, and say by faith Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should after receive for an inheritance, obeyed, and he went out, not knowing whither he went. By faith, he sojourned in the land of promise, which what the elder just read, as in a strange country, dwelling in tabernacles with Isaac and Jacob, the heirs with him of the same promises. Okay, so that's very important. You know, that what the Lord gave Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob is the reason on why we're here now today, and it was the promises. You know, but you got it. That's all.
I had something for verse 5. So
Yep.
Galatians 3 and verse 16. It says, now to Abraham and verse 5 was more so because back then they understood who they were. They had their nationality. They weren't far removed from knowing they were Israelites and the promises. The reason why we're about to read and stress this all the time is because now is when Israel would believe that all these other nations could be delivered and receive salvation. Back then, Jake wasn't thinking like that.
Right.
All right. Galatians 3 and 16. Well, not a large majority of Israel, I should say. It says, now Abraham and his seed were the promises made. He saith not, and to seeds as of many, but as the one, and to thy seed, which is Hamashiach Yahushua. That's how the Lord's always operated. All right, with a small number. Abraham left all his forefathers that were worshiping the host of heaven and everything. All right, so he was on a solo journey, so to say. All right, just like Noah was. Everybody was looking at Noah like the Lord is talking directly to you. There's no way. You know who you are. You know, that's how they looked at Abraham. But we were stressing the point that seed is Isaac. Because a lot of people will say that Abraham was the first Muslim. What about Ishmael? Because Ishmael had 12 sons too. Right. They didn't know Abraham, Ishmael, and then whoever the hell is next. It's Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. That was it, bro. You can jump back to Acts 7.
Real quick, if I can grab something, just to kind of hit in on that point, just one precept. And you can pull it up, Baba Shah. What is that? Ecclesiasticus 44, and I believe it's like the last two remaining precepts, the last two remaining scriptures, if I'm not mistaken. I'm trying to find it. Ecclesiasticus 44. Because Stephen was really hitting on how.
I got it.
You got it? Okay, you got it, bro. What is it?
44:19.
Yeah, you can start from 44. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, you can start from 19.
Okay. Abraham was a great father of many people. In glory was there none like unto him. It says, who kept the law of the Most High and was in covenant with him. He established the covenant in his flesh. And when he was proved, he was found faithful.
Yep. And that was the circumcision. And that's and we were the only people that was given that law, all right, that kept on that custom for generation to generation was the circumcision. You got it.
It says, therefore he assured him by an oath that he would bless the nations in his seed, and that he would multiply him as the dust of the earth, and exalt his seed as the stars, and cause them to inherit from sea to sea. And from the river of the utmost part of the land.
And that's talking about the Israelites right there. The Israelites will be scattered amongst all the nations. All right. So when Yahushua came on the scene and him shedding his blood, which is why Stephen was going in on this, because when Yahushua shed his blood, that was to bring all the far who was a part of that covenant. Now the doors is open for those Gentiles to come in. You got to understand that the Israelites were scattered all over. When you going into Acts and you're going into the what is known as the New Testament, Acts on down, all of those people that Paul was writing those epistles to were Israelites that were scattered all over. All right. And the point of us being scattered was because we broke the laws. So that brings us back to Yahushua again. We couldn't keep the law, so Yahushua had to sacrifice himself, all right, and to bring us close and nigh unto him. And now it goes by faith, which starts from Abraham, who just believed in what Yahushua, what Yahweh told him, and he obeyed it. You got it.
Keep reading.
Yep.
It says, and with Isaac he established likewise for Abraham his father's sake the blessing of all men, and the covenant, and made it rest upon the head of Jacob.
You see how it went from Abraham, it jumped to Isaac. Now, Abraham had Ishmael. Why is Ishmael not mentioned in this book? Because it was a promised lineage. It was a promised seed that was going to receive the inheritance and the blessings. This is what Stephen was breaking down to them.
Yep.
You know, and why Jake always was going to get into it in the latter verses, but resisted the Holy Spirit.
Yep. It says,
you got it, bro.
It says, and made it rest upon the head of Jacob. He acknowledged him in his blessing, and gave him inheritance, and divided his portion among the 12 tribes. Did he part them?
That's it.
And these are the words of the book which Baruch, son of Nearus, the son of Messiah, the son of Maasius, the son of Sedecius, the son of Asidius, the son of Kelsias, wrote in Babylon.
Yep.
That was it. That was it.
Yep, that's it. And just to touch Isaac had Esau as well. And what happened? The promises rested upon Jacob, and then Jacob down to the 12 patriarchs.
It is a
scripture. Yeah, I was saying you notice how with every when the sons of God are being tracked through the scriptures, all the men that were chosen of the Heavenly Father had brothers and sisters.
Right.
All of them did. You know what I'm saying? You can go through Abraham's brothers and sisters. Isaac had Jacob had Esau as a brother. You know what I'm saying? And then it said it rested on the head of Jacob. You see? So it's established that this is the line that's being tracked through the Bible.
Right.
Isaac had different sons. Abraham had different sons. You know, but the Lord set it up the way He wanted it to go. You see, and the thing that these people fail to realize is that the Lord don't give a fuck about what you think. I chose Israel, and that's it. He don't change his mind. He don't lie. Like, what the fuck are we talking about? Go ahead.
And at this time, he dealing directly with the elect.
Mm-hmm.
Right. That came from that line.
Yeah.
That's right.
Yep, the scriptures always spoke about those who walked with the Most High. He always had a specific line that he dealt with, or one individual that represented the elect.
This is back in the book of Acts, chapter 7, verse 5 again. And he gave him none inheritance in it, no, not such as to set his foot on. Yet he promised that he would give it to him for a possession, and to his seed after him, when as yet he had no child. And the Most High spake on this wise, that his seed should sojourn in a strange land, that they should bring them into bondage, and entreat them evil 400 years. It says, and the nation to whom they shall be in bondage will I judge, said the Most High. And after that they shall come forth and serve me in this place. And he gave him the covenant of circumcision. So Abraham begat Isaac, and circumcised him the 8th day. And Isaac begat Jacob, and Jacob begat the 12 patriarchs. And the patriarchs, moved with envy, sold Joseph into Egypt, but the Most High was with him, and delivered him out of all his afflictions, and gave him favor and wisdom in the sight of Pharaoh, and Pharaoh king of Egypt. And he made him governor over Egypt and all his house.
Now keep this in mind. We in the same state as Joseph. Okay? It's our job to tell the powers that be what's coming. Now, of course, this time they're not going to take heed to the warning. But it ain't time for them to take heed to the warning. You see? Joseph had to do what he had to do to fulfill the will of the Heavenly Father at that time. We got to do what we got to do to fulfill the will of the Heavenly Father in our time. But this is an example that we can go back to. You see, you got to understand the history to understand the mystery.
Yeah.
Okay. If you don't know why if you don't know why Joseph was in Egypt and the Lord dealt with the way he dealt with him, then this ain't for you. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no so-called Christians going back to the history of Joseph. They ain't going back in the history of nothing.
They wouldn't even see a point in doing so.
You know what I'm saying? They saying Jesus loved me and that's it. Do you know how thick this Bible is, bitch?
I'm sorry for laughing. I'm so sorry. It's a lot.
It's way too many pages in the Bible for y'all to be coming in our face with this madness, man. What about the rest of the book?
Damn.
It said devour the whole roll. And then go teach our people. If you ain't our people, we ain't trying to teach you. And 2/3 of our people fuck them too on this side. That's what the whole purpose of this chapter is to show how 2/3 of Israel don't care about the Lord. 2/3 of Israel don't care about the word. They killed the prophets. And what did Yahushua custom with the scribes and Pharisees about in Matthew 23? Killing the prophets.
That's right. Back in Acts chapter 7, verse I start at 10 again, and delivered him out of the verse 9. And the patriarchs moved with envy, sold Joseph into Egypt, but the Most High was with him, and delivered him out of his afflictions, and gave him favor and wisdom in the sight of Pharaoh, king of Egypt. And he made him governor over Egypt and all his house. Now there came dearth over all the land of Egypt and Canaan, and great affliction, and our fathers found no sustenance. But when Jacob heard that there was corn in Egypt, he sent out our fathers first. And at the second time, Joseph was made known to his brethren, and Joseph.
And just to add, Salaki, just to throw in what's happening in this time period. Remember, Joseph had the dream first. All right, that's how the brothers began to envy him, and then sold him into captivity. He had afflictions with Pharaoh's wife. He went through a situation where he was being lied on for adultery. All right, then he was put into prison, and then I think it was the two slaves that was in prison with him. One died, one had a dream that he was going to get up out of prison. So the Lord was setting up his life. Joseph was going through a roller coaster. He got sold by his brothers, with the Sabians. He was put into prison. He was demoted. He was catching hell. He was catching holy hell, but the Lord was with him throughout all that. All right. And then the dream about the what is it? I believe it was 7 years of plenteous and then 7 years of dark, which he told the Pharaoh what was going to take place. All right. So gather up and store and stock for 7 years. And then the next 7 years is going to be a dark. And that's the whole reason why Jacob and the brothers came to Egypt. So the Lord set the entire thing up, and they was placed in the land of Gershom, right? Which was protected from when the plagues of Egypt hit. So the Lord was setting up Israel through the Spirit from day one. But
that's it.
Right. What was going to take place?
Yeah. I don't know, but William Shakespeare that said it. But the world is a stage, and we're all actors.
Yeah, that was him.
Yeah, it's just a lot of people will focus on a controversy that led to prophecy being fulfilled. But the point of the matter is that's important is prophecy. It don't matter how the Lord brought it upon it. It was the fact that it shows you that this is the Lord's word. Right?
That's
so
right.
What Stephen is doing right now is trying to bring Jake back to remembrance of how it all started and why we got to this point. Right?
Yeah, I would say Abraham didn't have no idea that his great grandsons was gonna fulfill that will. You know what I'm saying? The Lord said your seed is gonna end up in a land in a land and be in slavery. He didn't have no
Remember, he didn't
idea
have
how
no
that was gonna
child.
go. Exactly.
Salaki. He ain't had no kids at the time. So he was
Yeah, his great grandkids did that.
So that's heavy. He ain't had no child. And you know, so hey, the Lord, man, the Lord is beautiful. So
You know, and Eber was still alive too because he outlived Abraham. So
Hey,
the
Hebrew
whole
is
knowledge of
particular.
the pre flood world could still be passed down through face to face conversation. You know,
Yeah.
couple
It was
of
always a connection to the history.
yeah.
Yeah, like for a lot of Jake did. I never understood why a lot of Jake in the world never got into history. For some reason, that was always my favorite subject.
God.
But
Me too.
Yeah, you gotta. They tell you what if you don't know, if those who are ignorant of the past are doomed to repeat it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying that kind of mindset. So the past is very important. Hey, the Lord requires the things that happen in the past.
Right.
I remember one time I got kicked out of class. I got kicked out of my history class because the teacher was talking about I think we was talking about slavery. And then my question to the teacher was, okay, well, what happened before that?
Yeah.
He ain't had no conversation for me.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, that can't be the beginning. So you telling me that the world started with slavery? You know what I'm saying? And he couldn't give me no answer. So the faggot ass nigga told me to get out the classroom. I was like, well, shit, you can't answer my questions. Ain't no use of me being this bitch throw out.
Yeah.
The fucking teacher can't answer no questions. What the fuck?
Yeah.
So
Hey, Salakia, before we go on, man, just laying back and off of Zaquan, I told one, man, just dealing with the way the Most High, really, what he did, he set up Joseph, and Joseph had to be proved, all right, and go through everything the brother was speaking on in the spirit, man. Okay, so he can get set up, and what did he do? He brought salvation, all right, to the patriarchs, all right, of the nation of Israel, man. Okay, they would have perished in the famine if the Most High wouldn't have set it up for them to sell him into slavery and him end up in the position he was in Egypt. All right, to protect the lines of Israel, man.
Right.
Without
Yep.
Jacob was even messed up by the dream. Yeah, Jacob was even messed up by the dream. You know,
I'm gonna humble myself to you.
I'm gonna humble myself to one of my babies. Yes, you are.
Yeah.
So it says, it's getting back to Acts chapter 7, verse what was he at?
13.
Yep, 13. The waters wine. And at the second time, Joseph was made known to his brethren, and Joseph's kindred was made known unto Pharaoh. Then sent Joseph and called his father Jacob to him, and all his kindred, 60 souls. What's that like? I don't know, 60 plus 50, 15 souls.
75
souls. So Jacob went down into Egypt and died, he and our fathers, and were carried over into Shechem and lay in the sepulchre of Abraham, that Abraham brought for a sum of money of the sons of Immer, the father of Shechem. But when the time of promise drew nigh, which the Most High had sworn to Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Egypt, till another king arose which knew not Joseph. The same dwelt subtly with our kindred.
Hey, he's going into history of salvation, going to the chosen people, man.
Yep.
All right, when we was would have been cut off, man. All right, when now he's going into Egypt, man. All right, the Most High preserved the nation of Israel every time, man.
Right.
Now all of a sudden the heathens, they important.
No, they're not.
They ain't never been important.
And they never will be.
No, you're not. No, you're not.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. The Lord sent the prophets to break strongholds. You know, so that's a stronghold that's on these dudes that's talking about the heathen can make it. That's a stronghold on Jake
Yeah.
to think that they can keep the laws perfect.
Yeah. Can we get Isaiah 54 and 17?
Con.
Or is that 18? No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. That's a weapon. That was weaponized. These doctrines that came out of the Roman Catholic Church,
That's right.
that was weaponized to put Jake to sleep. No weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is my favorite part. This is the heritage in this of the servants of the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua, and their righteousness is of me, saith the Lord Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. So it's encoded in our DNA and part of our heritage, our legacy, to say, no, you're wrong. What you're saying is wrong. All right.
Yep.
The salvation is for everybody. No, it's not. The prophets told us the nations are dropping from a bucket. That has to be condemned.
Yep.
That's why I say if you tell me 7 plus 7 equals 77, I'm gonna cut you the fuck out.
Yeah.
And they said our righteousness is of him. So it's not like we saying these things because it's how we feel.
Yeah.
It's what the Lord set in motion, put in place since the beginning of creation.
Yep.
And we live in a world where the Israelites are treated and oppressed the greatest, treated bad and oppressed the greatest.
Mhm.
These nations, they don't look to add us to their blessing. None of these nations looking or seeking to save us, to deliver us, to have us some appeasement. All the shit that's going on in the world right now, you still ain't hear no mention of Jake. They talking about the Indians, they talking about the small hats, but they ain't talking about you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans. You're an afterthought in the society. So why can't you look at the nations as an afterthought in salvation? Because they are an afterthought.
I say this. I say this all the time. Even if you want to be a complete damn loser, Yahweh Shem Yahushua will not allow it. He will kill your bitch ass and start over from scratch. It's not gonna happen. Esau gave up his birthright. Jacob didn't. You stupid motherfuckers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And you damn right the kid gloves is off.
Yeah.
We'll see you on the other side, Lord willing. But right now, you're an enemy.
Oh yeah.
So
Enemy of the cross. That's what the scripture says.
that's right. But that was it on here as well.
Yeah, that was it.
Can we grab Revelation 14 and 4? Baba Kushada, go with that.
Yeah, Revelation.
And that scripture, Isaiah 54:17, links up with we shall be a kingdom of kings and priests.
Yep. And that's why the nation's gonna be blessed, because we're gonna be amongst them, teaching them the ways of Yahweh Shem Yahushua. You know what I'm saying? And when they do the right thing, they're gonna be blessed. When they do the wrong thing, they're gonna be cursed. Right. Simple as that.
That's how it was for us.
Yes. What's so hard about
it? Do you good? Deuteronomy 28. That's what it's all about. If you do what you're supposed to do, you're blessed. If you don't do what you're supposed to do, you're cursed. That go for the planet.
It says
starting with Israel.
Revelation 14 and 4. These are they which were not defiled with women, for they are virgins. These are they which follow the Lamb whithersoever he goeth. These were redeemed from among men, being the first fruits unto the Most High and to the Lamb.
So this is the elect men.
Can you pull that word for follow? Go ahead,
No, these were the elect men that wasn't swayed by all these wayward doctrines, or that's sweeping Jake away right now, man. That's got Jake bugging the fuck out behind these false understandings of the scriptures, because they don't want to deal with the reality or the ugliness of the scriptures, man. They don't want to deal with the fucking being an enemy of the world, so they bugged out ass become an enemy of Yahweh Shem Yahushua, man, by getting caught up on false truths, man. But you got the definition.
The definition for follow is
Strong's G 190. Akalutheo.
Akalutheo, and it says to follow one who precedes, join him as his attendant, accompany him, to join one as a disciple, become or be his disciple, side with his party.
So following the Lamb whithersoever he goeth, we start out as disciples, meaning we desire discipline. And the Apocrypha will tell you that the desire of discipline leads to a kingdom. Who's leading us to the kingdom? Yahushua. How? Through the straight gate. Come on now. Is the whole planet following Yahushua? No. Is the whole planet going to be delivered? No. It's for a small number. I didn't know this before the truth was unveiled to me.
No, the brother, he's Elder Yachty, you going in and out. Right? When as you speak.
About that, but whatever.
It
is what it is. It's for who it's for.
That's right.
Trying to jump in there like, wait a minute, wait. He trying to catch Elder Yachty like this.
Man, I'm out. Look, man, the Lord got that Barry Sanders spirit on me right now. I'm thinking every fucking thing. Yeah, I'm Barry Sanders and Kyrie. Yeah, I'm Barry Sanders and Kyrie rolled up into one through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Yahushua.
That's right.
Oh, you good on the iTunes one? You going to Elder iTunes one? You might want to click out and click back in. Zaquan.
It's hard to hear. It keep jumping in and out. I don't know if it's my internet, but my connection is acting weird. Yeah, I'm gonna close out and come back in.
All right.
Yes, it's Satan.
Because I can't hear.
Prince of the power of the air, bro. But back in you good? You good, Elder?
Con.
Okay, I can. Okay, con. It's back. Yep, there we go.
All right, brothers. We back in Acts chapter 7, verse.
As soon as I said it died again. Ain't that a bit?
No, you good? We can hear you. You good?
We can hear you loud and clear.
You loud and clear, Zaquan. I think he probably having a hard time.
Okay, con.
Okay. So back in Acts chapter 7, verse 17. But when the time of the promise drew nigh, which the Most High had sworn to Abraham, the people grew and multiplied in Egypt, till another king arose which knew not Joseph. The same dealt subtly with our kindred and evil entreated our fathers, so that they cast out their young children to the end that they might not live. In which time Moses was born and was exceedingly fair and nourished up in his father's house 3 months. And when he was cast out, Pharaoh's daughter took him up and nourished him for her own son. And Moses was learned in all the wisdom of the Egyptians and was mighty in words and in deeds.
Now, keep this in mind. Keep this in mind, right? The Lord is going, Stephen is going through the history. You see? He's going through the history, which you have to go into the Old Testament. You have to go into the Apocrypha. You have to understand the New Testament because it's all telling the same story. Okay? So just like Stephen is going into the history, that's what we do. We go into the history to make it make sense. Because if I just tell you a portion of the story without telling you all of it, you're gonna walk away wondering.
Come.
So Stephen was going into the whole history. Bro, they didn't get mad until around verse 50.
Yeah. Well, our forefather.
He was able to go into the whole history. Before, that's what I'm saying. He went into the whole history and brought it to the present day. That's when they got mad, when he was telling you they wasn't shit back then and they ain't shit now. And the people that ain't wasn't shit back then is y'all ass.
Yeah.
Well,
mad and killed it.
That's right. Our forefathers, even including Yahushua, they referenced the Old Testament, what we call the Old Testament today. They had to have something to reference prophecy. So as things happen, and as things were about to happen, our forefathers would go back into the history and say, remember Yahweh Shah said this. Remember how Yahweh Shah delivered our forefathers to get them here and there. Because even as we read about the history, prophecy is being read within it about how the Lord would establish his people, how the Lord would deliver his people, how the Lord would destroy his people's enemies. All that was prophecy. So we're living the same thing out now, right? So it's like references. It's like having a reference book, right? So for those people who are opposed to the Old Testament or the New Testament, you're doing yourself a disservice because you don't have no reference points for what you're saying. Okay.
In today's time, they call that receipts.
Yeah. Receipts. That's right. They got no receipts, man. So it says, verse 23, and when he was full 40 years old, it came to his heart to visit his brethren, the children of Israel. And seeing one of them suffer wrong, he defended him and avenged him that was oppressed and smote the Egyptian. For he supposed his brethren would have understood how that the Most High by his hand would deliver them, but they understood not. Yeah, because the Jake that he saved, I think he ended up bucking up against Moses, and he ran his mouth, and then Moses was on the run for murder. You know what I'm saying?
That's a nigga for you.
That's a nigga for you, man. Showing you can't save everybody. Everybody ain't worthy of salvation. You know what I'm saying? So it says,
check this out, Zaquan. We had 55 minutes. Yeah, we had 55 minutes, and we had verse what? 24, 25? Okay. I would say let's go about 10 minutes, get a couple more precepts, because I know brothers got stuff to do. You know what I'm saying? So we're gonna have to split it up. So let's get a couple more. Let's get a couple more and make these points through the spirit, and then give it about another 10, 15 minutes.
Consequence. So it says, for he supposed his brethren would have understood how that the Most High by his hand would deliver them, but they understood not. And the next day he showed himself unto them as they strove, and would have set them at one again, saying, Sirs, ye are brethren, why do you wrong one another? Right, because he caught the two Jakes were fighting each other. And he says, but he that did his neighbor wrong thrust him away. He basically pushed Moses off, like, nigga, get off me. Saying, who made thee a ruler or the judge over us? Wilt thou kill me as thou didst the Egyptian yesterday? You see?
Oh, shit.
Then niggas ain't shit, bro. Right? Then fled Moses at this saying, Then fled Moses at this saying, and was a stranger in the land of Midian. Here he begat 2 sons. And when 40 years were expired, so he's like 80 years old. Wow. There him in the wilderness of Mount Sinai, an angel of the Lord in a flame of the fire in a bush. And when Moses saw it, he wondered at the sight. And he drew near to behold it. The voice of the Lord came unto him, saying, I am the power of thy fathers, the power of Abraham, the power of Isaac, the power of Jacob. Then Moses trembled and durst not behold. Then said the Lord to him, put off thy shoes from thy feet, for the place where thou standest is holy ground. I have seen the affliction of my people, which is in Egypt, and I have heard their groaning, and am come down to deliver them. And now come, I will send thee into Egypt. And it's real quick, Zaquan, I want to make a quick point. I noticed that the Heavenly Father, when he dealt with his prophets, he always set them apart from the other people, so he can deal with them himself, right? So, and I noticed that happens even when amongst the body. A lot of us, we're not amongst our people generally. The Lord set us apart from us so he can work on us and reveal his secrets unto us, the service of the prophets. Yeah. Anybody had anything?
Well, it says, be ye holy. Holy goes back to being separated, to be separate. Yep.
God. And it says, I will send thee into Egypt. This Moses whom they refused, saying, who made thee ruler and judge, the same did the Most High send to be a ruler and deliverer by the hand of the angel which appeared to him in the bush.
That's what I'm saying. So when they ask that question, who made you a ruler, who made you a judge? That's what I'm saying. The Lord made us rulers and judges. Yeah. You see?
Mediators.
So in what's that? First and Second Thessalonians, where it talk about you're not coming against the prophets, you coming against the Lord.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So when all these people have all this buck up and all this stuff to say, and who made you a ruler over me? Look, we the messenger.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Amos 7 and 14, real quick.
Amos 7?
Amos 7 and 14.
Yep.
You got it. Amos 7 and 14. Then answered Amos and said to Amaziah, I was not a prophet, neither was I a prophet's son, but I was an herdman and a gatherer of sycamore fruit. And Yahweh took me as I followed. Yahweh Bashem Shai took me as I followed the flock. And Yahweh Bashem Shai said unto me, go prophesy unto my people Israel.
Yeah, so we didn't force ourselves into this situation. You know what I'm saying? That we in knowing this truth, doing virtual lessons, risking our lives. You know what I'm saying? Dealing with all of the weight of what's going on outside the truth, then dealing with the truth, those that hold positions. You know what I'm saying? We didn't ask for any of this. You know, this is all written in the heavens. So if you go back to Acts real quick, it said, "Who made thee a ruler and a judge?" That's how they were looking at Moses. You know, who are you? You
Well,
know,
they
and you
didn't-
know he had the speech thing going on. You know,
yeah,
so same thing with us. We come in the same stead. That's how they looked at Yahweh Shai. They said, "We know him." Isn't that the carpenter's son?
yeah,
The one they're not looking
We
for.
come in that same.
Yeah, we come in that same stead.
yeah.
Same faith.
And
I
it
got a
should,
precept for that.
what's that, Zaquan?
I got a precept for what the Elder Monogon was just speaking on.
Khan. What is it?
Deuteronomy 5:5.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 5, verse 5. I stood between Yahweh Bashem Shai and you at that time to show you the word of Yahweh, for ye were afraid by reason of the fire, and went not up into the mount, saying, I am Yahweh thy power, which brought
That's
thee out
it.
of the land of Egypt. Okay.
Yep, that's it. That's the point right there. It says, I stood between the Lord and you. That's what we're doing. Another word for me, intermediators, or I think that's the word, intermediator, or something like that. It's
Mediator.
the Most High, and then it's and then it says messenger. All right, this messenger delivers the word to the people, and that's all we're doing. And when you go into the line of the prophets and things like that, that's what it's been all the way into Yahweh Shai. And now it's the same thing here. The Lord has set up men to give you the word of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai. That's it. And it's through specific men. It's always a lineage of specific men that the Lord, it's called being called. All right. That calling. You have to go do that work. What did it say? I have in Amos 3, it says, I have spoken, who can not but prophesy?
Yeah.
You know? So the Lord has given this mission after this which we're spokesmen for the Lord.
Yeah, we woke up. It makes me think of like a Manchurian Candidate, MK Ultra type shit, but on the in a righteous sense. You know what I'm saying? You heard the word and then boom, you woke up. All these puzzle pieces started coming together out of nowhere. You start remembering everything and took action. You know.
I got it.
Yeah. So I was gonna make a point real quick. So it just show you how Jake didn't respect the authority that Yahweh Bashem Shai set up, and neither did they respect Yahweh, right? To ask that question, who set you up to be a ruler, right? Because if you told them, hey, Yahweh Bashem Shai set us up, nigga gonna buck up against that because they rebelling against the Lord. Yep.
That was all I had.
Well, I think Elder Tazwan got a precept.
Let's end on your precept, Atazawan.
Okay. So Isaiah 2.
I'm sorry, say that again.
Isaiah 49:2.
Okay. The book of Isaiah, chapter 49.
Actually, I'm
2.
sorry. Let's start from verse 1.
Isaiah 49:1. Listen, O owls, unto me, and hearken ye people from far. Yahweh Bashem Shai have called me from the womb, from the bowels of my mother, have he made mention of my name. And he have made my
the prophets have been called. So all of the prophets of Yahweh Bashem Shai, they were already called and established before your mother and your father did the act of sex. Okay. He said, I called me from the womb, from the bowels of my mother, hath he made mention of my name. So this is before you even entered into the matrix, into the world. You know? Go ahead.
It says, and he had made my mouth like a sharp sword in the shadow of his hand, and he hid me and made me a polished shaft. In his quiver have he hid me.
Yeah, so
that's what happened. That's what happened with Stephen. Go ahead.
Yep. So the Lord, we're the Lord's mouthpiece. You know, we're the Lord's mouthpiece. He hid us. Because remember, before we came into this truth, we were in all type of whatever we was up in, you know, but we were being protected. We were being shielded from things until that time appointed. You know, like some of you elders, I can speak about Elder Gabar Yahawada and Elder D Mash and Elder Barak Allah. These elders was in they was in war, you know what I'm saying? But guess what? They received the truth and they wasn't, touched or anything like that. They were protected throughout their entire walk and throughout their life until that time appointed. That's the same thing with all of us. Near-death experiences, whatever it is, it was set up for us to go through our life until the Lord actually called us to do this, to do this ministry. And that's how it's been. Moses, Abraham was in his family line was going to idol worshiping. The Lord grabbed him up out of that. Moses, Waters, grabbed him out of that. You know, all of us. The Lord has chosen specific men to do his work. All right. And we didn't choose to be today. You know, the Lord called us from whatever his purpose was, and I'll find out later, those selected spirits all the way until now. To do what we're doing now. All right. He popped us up, he gave us this word, and he's used to deliver his word right now and cutting the fuck out these people to my ass through the spirit of Yahweh Shai. You got it.
Keep reading. It says, "It made me a polished shaft in the quiver have he hidden, and said unto me, Thou art my servant, O Israel, and I will be glorified." Then I said, that was it. Stop at 3.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, brother. Well, hey, this has been the first half of Acts chapter 7. We stopped at Slaki. All right,
Verse 34.
34. I was gonna say 30. Yep. We stopped at verse 34. So Lord willing, we'll pick up next week on chapter 7, verse 35. All right, brothers. Anybody ain't got nothing else to say or any parting words?
You can close us out, Zaquan.
We want to give all praise and honor and glory to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh Shai, Bashua, say double honor to the apostles and the bishop, elders, and salutations to the elect. Keep pushing, keep striving.
Shalom.
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 Yes, sir.